You don't even need that bonus. You don't have kids, my sister scoffed. I'm not your backup plan anymore, I said before locking every account she thought she could rely on. I left without another word. It all started with some steak and a glass of grape juice. We were at my parents' house, sitting around the dinner table, our usual monthly Sunday meal. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, and uncomfortable small talk about the weather and our jobs. I had just finished sharing how my team at work had performed really well in the last quarter. It had been tough. Late nights, early mornings, fixing problems that weren't mine, and answering calls on weekends. But in the end, all that effort paid off. I received a bonus. I wasn't showing off, just being honest. I smiled, feeling proud. It wasn't a huge sum, but it was enough to breathe a little easier. I could finally pay off some bills, maybe take a short vacation, or save a bit. Then I heard her fork clatter onto her plate. Wow, then you should give me some, my sister said. She laughed, but it wasn't genuine. I stared at her. No, I mean it, she added, pushing her glass aside and leaning forward like she was trying to make a serious point. I have kids, George, you don't need all of that. I laughed at first, thinking she was joking, but her face stayed serious. Kids are expensive, she said, looking over at our parents like she expected their support. You wouldn't believe how much diapers and daycare cost. I mean seriously, do you really need a bonus when you're just living alone? The room went quiet. I was still holding my fork mid-air. I turned to my mom. She nodded slowly, like what my sister said made sense. Families should help each other, she said gently, as if quoting something. And you've always been good with money, sweetheart. Maybe you could help her a little, for the kids. Dad spoke too, without even looking at me. She's a mom, you'll understand one day. Being the oldest and staying single taught me to handle things on my own. I became the one who fixed other people's problems, and stayed quiet while others received the praise. But that night, something changed inside me. I leaned back, put my fork down, and looked at the three of them like they were strangers. Without explaining myself, I simply said, "Excuse me," and got up. They thought I was just being rude. They didn't realize it was the beginning of the end. I didn't drive anywhere. I just sat in my car in the driveway, engine off, hands resting on the steering wheel, staring at the dashboard like it had the answers. I wasn't angry, not yet. I just felt something inside me break. That awful moment when the people you love show you exactly what they think of you. Not a brother, not a son, not someone who had been working non-stop since he was 16. Just someone with money. When I got back to my apartment, I couldn't sleep. The place felt colder than usual. I sat at my desk, opened my banking app, just like I always did, checked my balance, paid some bills, and thought about how far I'd come from the days of sharing cramped apartments and living off instant noodles. And then I saw it, a notification. My year-end bonus had been deposited. It was the reward for all the hard work, the stress, the missed weekends, the lost connections. And yet they thought they were entitled to it. That night, I moved the entire bonus into a new high-interest savings account I had just opened, at a different bank, with no paper statement. Only I had access to it. But I didn't stop there. I locked my credit, changed all my passwords, and removed the emergency access my parents had to my accounts. Something I had given them years ago to help them, never thinking it could be used against me. It hurt, but I was done being the one who fixed everything. In the following days, I didn't answer calls or texts. At first they acted like nothing was wrong. Then the messages changed. My sister sent crying emojis, and a photo of her kids in pajamas. They miss you. Can't you just help a little with school clothes? Later she wrote, I don't know who you think you are, but you're heartless. Mom left voice messages too. Don't punish your sister just because she's struggling. This isn't the George we raised. And she was right. I wasn't that George anymore. I was the George who realized that just because I had worked hard and moved forward didn't mean I owed anything to those who stayed behind and only saw me as a source of money. I didn't respond. I just kept moving toward the life I knew I had earned. It was a Thursday when she showed up at my door. No warning, just a loud, urgent knock like it was something that couldn't wait. I looked through the peephole. Rebecca, my sister, standing there, arms crossed, foot tapping impatiently. I unlocked the door, opened it slightly so she couldn't see inside. "Hey," I said. She skipped any greeting. "Why haven't you answered me? I've had a lot going on, like ignoring your own family." I stayed calm. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me, letting the lock. She noticed. "You moved the money, didn't you? No, how are you? No concern, just straight to the point." I shrugged. "It's taken care of." Her tone sharpened. "I need that money, George. You don't understand how hard it is raising 2 kids without help. I'm barely making it." "You're not alone," I replied. "You have mom and dad." She rolled her eyes. "They're useless with finances." I didn't say what I was thinking, that she wasn't much better. "I'm not asking for everything," she continued. "Just enough to get through the month." I studied her. The stress on her face was real, but I'd seen it too many times before. That same look when she wanted to borrow my car, or when she needed me to co-sign a lease she later didn't pay for. It always came with the same mix of panic and expectation. "I already said no," I answered calmly. "There's nothing left to give." Her face twisted with anger. "You're lying. You just don't want to help." That word help, like I hadn't earned everything I had. "I worked for it," I said, "and I'm not giving it away." That's when she lost control. "So now you're just hoarding it," she shouted. Her voice got louder. I noticed a neighbor's door crack open, then quickly close again. "Do you even hear yourself? You're sitting on money while your niece doesn't even have decent shoes for school." I stayed silent. "Maybe you should have thought about that before buying that brand new SUV last year," I said. She opened her mouth, then closed it, furious. "You really think you're better than us, don't you?" she hissed. "Just because you live alone, take boring solo trips, and keep your perfect little life so tidy. But you're not better, you're just selfish." I let her keep going. I didn't interrupt. I didn't say a word. I let her speak every insult she had. Then I looked her in the eyes. "We're done," she blinked. "What?" "No more calls. No more surprise visits. No more talks about my money. I'm not your emergency plan anymore." Her jaw tensed. "You don't mean that." I stepped backward toward the door. "I do. Goodbye, Rebecca." And with that I walked back inside and closed the door behind me, not in anger, not to make a scene, just firmly, like closing a book I had finished reading. I stood still for a moment, my head resting against the wooden door, breathing in slowly. Then I turned, walked into the bedroom, and opened my laptop. It was time to make some real changes. I used to think that if I ever left my family behind, the hardest part would be the guilt. That deep sadness, the feeling of leaving something important behind. I always imagined that if I walked away, I'd feel empty. But that night, sitting at my desk with my laptop open, a glass of cold water beside me, and my phone buzzing again for the 5th time, I didn't feel bad. I felt peaceful. I started with my phone. I blocked Rebecca. I blocked mom. I blocked dad. Not muted, not ignored. Blocked, forever. Then I opened our family group chat, and scrolled through everything: photos from birthday parties I had paid for, messages saying, "Can you help just one more time?" Quotes about how family should always help each other. I didn't even think twice. Deleted. Archived. Gone. I opened my email, and searched using their names. There were so many messages about school events, donation pages, and emotional forwards saying "thinking of you." I selected everything, deleted it all. Next I logged into the cloud storage I had once made for the family. It had old memories, pictures, scanned files, shared money plans from back when I believed we were all trying to build something together. I deleted my access from each file, stopped sharing, and made sure nothing was left behind. It only took about 40 minutes. When I was done, I leaned back and stared at the black screen in front of me. Everything was finally silent. Truly silent. No more requests. No more pressure. No more fake kindness pretending to be love. I didn't cry. I didn't grab a drink. I simply walked to bed, and slept better than I had in a long time. The next morning, I made the second biggest choice of my life. I ended my leave. My job had always allowed remote work, and I had been wanting something new for a while, so I only packed the things that mattered: my books, my laptop, a few clothes, and a single picture of me as a kid, smiling with crooked teeth and messy jeans. That boy didn't know what the future would bring, but he stayed strong anyway. 2 weeks later, I left the city. No note, no goodbye, no new address. I just disappeared. I moved to a small, peaceful town up north. It had wide streets, a quiet library with a fireplace, and friendly people who waved without expecting anything from me. I got a new phone number, joined a new gym, created a new daily routine, one that didn't include being the person everyone called when they were in trouble. Best of all, I met new people, people who didn't care how much I earned, only how much I smiled, people who brought me soup when I was sick and didn't expect a favor in return, people who understood the word no, without taking offense. One quiet night, I sat on my porch with a cup of coffee. The wind moved through the trees. And that's when it hit me. You don't have to give up your peace just because someone shares your blood. Sometimes, the best thing you can do for yourself and your future is to walk away from those who never treated you like a person, only like a provider. And once you take that step, you won't go back. 3 weeks after I moved, a letter showed up. A real, handwritten letter, forwarded from my old place. I almost didn't open it. I thought maybe it was a desperate message from Rebecca, or guilt from my mom. But it wasn't. It was from my dad. One short page, rushed handwriting. George, I don't know what's wrong with you. Your sister's having a hard time. Your mother is very upset. You can't just leave your family. You've made your point. Come home now. No apology. No mention of what they had done. Just an order, as if I were still a teenager who had slammed a door. I folded the paper, put it on the table, and stared at it for a while. Then I got up, walked outside, and threw it in the trash. I didn't need answers. I had peace. And I wasn't giving it up for anyone. That Tuesday, I was sitting in a coffee shop I'd started visiting often. A quiet place where the worker knew my name and no one rushed you. I was halfway through my drink when my phone buzzed. A new email. Subject: Hey, it's Carol. Carol, my cousin. We hadn't spoken in years. She usually stayed out of family problems, lived far away, quiet, observant, never took sides. I tapped it open. Hey George, hope this isn't strange. Laura gave me your new email. She's nice. I hope that's okay. I just wanted to say I heard what happened, and honestly, I think you made the right choice. I leaned back in my seat, surprised. I saw how they treated you. I remember holidays where they all made fun of you and called it joke. I remember how Rebecca always got away with everything, and you were expected to be the strong one. I'm sorry I never said something before, but I see it now, and I'm proud of you for leaving. There wasn't much else, just a simple line at the end. If you ever want to talk or come visit, you've got a spot here. I hadn't even realized how tight my chest had felt until it relaxed. It wasn't a big message, but it mattered, because for the first time in years, someone in my family didn't want anything from me. They just reached out. No pressure, no guilt, just care. And it reminded me, not everyone connected to your past is part of the hurt. Some are just waiting for you to finally choose your own life, so they can be part of your peace. I was still a child when you chose her over me, I said softly. You always said that family stands by each other, but never once asked how I was holding up. You only showed up when the money stopped. The silence was long. And then my dad said, so that's it, you're just shutting us out. I stared directly at him. He didn't look hurt, just mildly bothered. That's when I knew they didn't really understand. I already cut ties, I said. You just didn't think I meant it. My mom's voice cracked. George, please. But I took a step back. I hope things go well for you, but this is the end. I walked up to the porch, unlocked the front door, and went inside. I never looked behind me. Not once. The strange part about starting over is how quiet everything feels at first. After that final doorstep moment. If it even counted as a real conversation, I waited. I thought maybe I'd get another handwritten note, a voicemail, or a guilt-filled Facebook message from some cousin saying fix things before it's too late. But nothing happened. They finally got the message, and in that silence, I started living again. I began waking up earlier, not because I had to, but because it felt good. The town was peaceful in the mornings. The smell of coffee, people walking their dogs, birds singing, instead of traffic or voices asking for things. It was calm. I joined a hiking club. At first it was just to get outside and move around. But it turned into something more, friendships. People who didn't know my story, didn't dig, didn't care, but they made space for me to walk beside them anyway. We talked about the weather, jobs, movies. It was simple, gentle healing at work. I finally started choosing projects I liked, not to gain approval, not to look good, just because I wanted to. Then came Jessica. We both reached for the same old copy of East of Eden in a bookshop. We smiled, laughed, grabbed coffee. It wasn't awkward, it wasn't forced. It just felt right. She never asked about my past on the first date, or the second. When I finally shared, she listened. Really listened. Then she told me something that stayed in my heart. You didn't run from your family, George. You took a step toward the real you. That sentence stuck with me because for the first time, someone didn't see me as the helper, the ATM, or the one who fixed things. They saw me as a human being. 6 months passed, and my home started to feel like it was truly mine. Comfortable. There were photos on the walls now, one of me and Jessica at a fall event, one of the hiking group after a weekend trip, and one old photo of me as a boy, smiling big, missing a front tooth, still unaware of what life had in store. Then one night, after a long day and a calm dinner, I opened my laptop. There was a new message. Subject: please read this. It was from Rebecca. I almost deleted it right away. My mouse hovered over the trash button, but something inside me, curiosity, or maybe something I hadn't let go of, paused me. So I opened it. It began like an apology. I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I get it. But I've been doing some thinking about what you said, about how we acted, about everything you gave us and how we treated you. I was mad before. I was defensive. But now I've had some time to really think. I kept going through her message. Then she wrote, I'm struggling a lot right now. I haven't paid rent. The girls need clothes that fit, and my boss cut my schedule. I just need a little help to stay above water. There it was, buried beneath a short paragraph that looked like regret, but it wasn't really about saying sorry. It was just another request. She even included a photo of her daughter, the same one she posted earlier on Facebook, with a happy caption about being a mom. It wasn't regret, it was manipulation. I shut the email and stared at the screen. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel broken, just drained. Then I wrote my reply, Rebecca, I read what you sent and I truly hope you get the help you need, but that help can't come from me anymore. I've built something solid, and protecting it means I'm not going backward. I wish nothing but good things for you and your kids. George. No anger, no insults, just honesty. I pressed send. A few moments passed, and she replied again, unbelievable. You're heartless. You'll regret this one day. I didn't respond. I blocked her email. Then I looked over at Jessica, who had tucked herself under a blanket next to me, reading a book. I asked her, do you want to get away this weekend? Somewhere peaceful. She gave a warm smile. Absolutely. And just like that I kept moving on. Because each time they tried to drag me back into that old role, the bank, the problem solver, the one expected to fix everything, I remember exactly why I walked away. And I know I'll never go back. Sometimes people ask me if I miss them. The family meals, the holiday celebrations, the old routines. And for a short moment I think about it. But then I recall how those moments really felt. How every bite of food came with invisible strings. How affection in that house had to be paid for with silence, with money, with giving up your needs. No, I don't miss. What I miss is the version of family I used to believe I had. One that never actually existed.